It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. The bright lure of freedom diminishes your life's joy in a mad scramble for power, for identity. You were made to be ruled.
Freedom. What is it? It's an illusion, just like free will. It's a veil covering our eyes to give us the impression that we have a choice. A lie that we tell to ourselves and to others, just to desperately hope that we have some kind of control on our lives. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel free or do you feel trapped? Of course, we cannot speak about freedom without speaking about the freest country of all. No, not that one. No, not this one either. Romania. Most of you might only know Romania as the home of Dracula, but you might not know that until 1989, Romania was a communist dictatorship run by this guy, Nicolae Ceausescu. Without going into much detail for the sake of time, what you need to know is that everybody was poor and in a constant state of hunger. Not only this, but Romania was a police state, where everybody who was against the regime was punished severely. Think of it as a North Korea of Europe. Actually, in 1971, Ceausescu made a visit to North Korea and he was jealous of Kim Il-sung and how much admiration he was getting from his people. He was worshipped like a god, and Ceausescu wanted that for himself as well. So he returned to Romania and put his plan into practice, basically enslaving the entire population and implementing rations for food. And even if there were no rations, the people were too poor anyway to buy anything. Everything was filled with propaganda, from books to movies and TV, to brainwash the people on how great their leader is. And their leader was informed by his entourage that the people are happy with him. Wherever he was going, the citizens were forced by the state police to cheer and to smile and to pretend everything was perfect. Apples were being hanged on tree branches so Ceausescu can see how productive his country was. And he was happy and satisfied. He was loved like his North Korean friend. But of course, this was a lie. People were not happy. People were hungry. People wanted to be free. And for the woke amongst you, this is what communism and socialism means. Everybody loses equally. There are no winners except the dictator and his circle of friends. So long story short, a bloody revolution happened in 1989. Ceausescu was killed on live television along with his wife, and the Romanians were finally free. Or at least they had for the first time the illusion of freedom, because Romania transformed from a puppet state of the Soviet Union into a puppet state of the United States of America. The entire blame for the poor state of the country was put on the dead dictator, and the power was taken by the people who were controlling him anyway. So the same communists magically changed their views overnight, and they told to the people that now Romania, it's a democracy, that they are now free. But just like the proverbial dragon, when you cut one head, many more appear in its place. So what they thought was freedom was actually capitalism. And Romania transformed from a producer to a consumer. All industries were privatized, and factories and farms made room to imports and supermarkets. Everything that was controlled before by the state was now bought for cents on a dollar by foreigners and corporations. And as we know, corporations are the opposite of democracy. They work like dictatorships. And all Romanians went to the banks and got loans that they could not afford to pay back just to have a fancier car than their neighbor. So where is their freedom? They are free to slave away for any of the corporations they want. They are free to buy whatever brand of products they want from the same global supermarket chains. Is this what freedom is for them? To buy stuff with money that don't belong to them? To slave away in a job they hate under a dictatorship structure just to pay back a loan they made to buy a fancy dildo? To be led by the same corrupt politicians who in 1989 changed sides because it was more convenient for them. You think you are free, but you're not. You traded one dictator for many more dictators in all aspects of your life. Romanians, you should do what your anthem says. Wake up! By the way, on a different note, if you are not vampires, why your anthem literally translates to wake up from your death sleep? And you, living in the US, you might think, but I am free, I live in a free country, I can do whatever I want, as long as there are no bad consequences. But is it really? Is it freedom when you fear the consequences of things that you want to do but can't? And honestly, look around you. I mean, yeah, if you watch this video, you probably don't live under an oppressive regime like a dictatorship, but still, what freedom do you have? Freedom of choice? Is this really freedom? Choice between products that are marketed for you as different, but in the end they are owned by the same company? Freedom to listen to the same moronic songs about the same subjects, play in the same four chords, to watch dozens of different movies with the same storyline structure over and over again? The only freedom you have is to choose from the options that are given to you and to be happy that you think you made a difference. Even when you vote, do you think you make a choice? That you are a free person in a free country and your vote could change things for the better? But are you really so blind and brainwashed that you cannot see that all the heads are just ending in just one serpent body? Sure, you can say that freedom means that you have rights, but what you forget is that other side of rights. Obligations, responsibilities. Rights are not the same as the idea of freedom. The only thing they have in common is that they are abstract concepts of things that they are not real. Rights are just as imaginary as the idea of freedom. The rights are conditioned by obligations, and these represent the limits of the rights. And if you say that you are free because you have rights, then you also condition the freedom with the obligations. And if you say that you are free to do what you want, as long as you don't do something that hits the limit of responsibility, you condition the freedom as well. And conditioned freedom is not freedom.
I am free.
Look who decided to show up. Hello, how are you free?
We are not slaves anymore. We are free.
Really, Karen? Were you ever a slave?
No, but we don't own slaves anymore because it's illegal.
Exactly, because if it wasn't illegal, you would still own them. And if you want to do something and you cannot do it, which in your case is to own another person, is that freedom for you? I guess you can move to our neighbors in Mexico, where rich people still own people as servants without paying them, just for having the privilege of sleeping in a closet. They don't even allow them to eat with them at the same table. Slavery is banned, maybe in your stupid ignorant bubble. And even here, you think things are better, right? Sure, you are free, as in not having an owner, but you still belong to a community which makes you behave in a certain way and puts conditions and laws which you have to follow. So where is the freedom in that? How do you feel free in an airport, for example, where people gave up their freedom and privacy for the fake sense of security? Or being ordered to stay inside the house and being fined if you go out? You're constantly being sold this lie that you can do whatever you want in the land of the free. The land of the free, what a joke. The land of the free where free speech is banned. How can you say you are free? Free of what? Financially free? Spiritually free? Free to do what you want? These are all, at best, exceptions. Sure, things to strive towards, but also things that most people will never achieve. Things reserved only for the rich. But let's leave for a moment the concept of external freedom and dive into us and ask a more important question. Are we free inside? Do we have free will? Let's analyze this idea of you wanting to do something. Is it really freedom? Is it the fact that you want to do something free will? Or is just predetermined by what I like to call the history of you? What you are in this moment and where you are now is more due to luck, and almost none of it has to do with your free will. Every thought you have is an effect that had a cause. And this effect is shaped by our mind in the form of desires, wills, emotions, beliefs, ideas, and as well by our body, such as our state of health, hunger, thirst, hormones, and other aspects of the physical. We are nothing more than the sum of these effects. All that we wanted and that we will ever want was and will be the sum of these effects. And to dive deeper, the desires and emotions can also be justified by the physical changes in your body. If your hormones change, your thoughts change. If you're hungry, your mood changes and consequently your thoughts. If you're in pain, your thoughts change. If you're happy again, your thoughts change. And your thoughts cause the decision-making process. And if your thoughts are influenced by factors that you cannot control, how can you pretend that your thoughts are free? Your thoughts are the fate of the history of you, the logical conclusion to all of your past actions. How can you pretend that you have free will to do what you want? What you want is not something you can control. Your desires, your thoughts, they just pop into your mind, even if you want them or not. What you want is a conclusion of multiple factors. So free will is defined as the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate. The ability to act at one's own discretion. But as we saw, we don't have this ability. You might agree or disagree with me now, but this only proves my point. Your decision is based on your past experiences, desires, ideals, and not to mention your mental and physical state. And furthermore, there are documented cases of people who had brain injuries and their behavior changed because their thoughts changed.
You are very wrong. I have free will.
Oh yeah, I know. You are that one special snowflake who has free will. And we all who think differently are stupid. But let me ask you this. Why it's so bad to not have free will? And another question. Isn't the illusion of free will enough for us? The illusion that we can choose as we please, independent of internal and external factors? What's so bad about knowing that free will is just an illusion? I think it's a great opportunity to understand others and how and why they act and react like they do. And more than this, to understand yourself. We do things because we want and because someone else wants us to do it. And like we saw, neither of these two things depend on us. We think as we do because of the things that happen to us, and this is something we cannot control in any way. However, what we can control is our reaction to our thoughts. You cannot control what emotions are caused deep inside of you by what someone does or says to you, but you can control how you react to that emotion. You can control how you react to that thought that just popped into your mind, and maybe you can even perform an introspection into yourself and find out what caused that thought. Were you exposed to the same situation in the past? Were you hungry? Do you have a psychological imbalance of some sorts? Maybe you're luckier than the guy who had a brain tumor and started to kill people with a sniper, or the other guy who became a pedophile, and as soon as the brain tumor was removed, his thoughts of doing unimaginable things to children disappeared.
Then it means I am not responsible for the things I do.
Indeed, this lack of free will raises the question of responsibility and accountability. If we cannot control what we think, and since what we think makes us who we are we responsible for the bad things that we do? Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. This lack of free will doesn't mean lack of control over your actions. How many times in traffic you had a thought popped into your mind to just smash into the idiot who cut you off, but you controlled your reaction to that thought and you didn't do it? Or at least I hope you didn't, because if you did it, you are a maniac. Try to think of the last thing you decided and see if it was not premeditated. I bet there were a huge chain of events, feelings, emotions, and maybe physical factors as well that led to your decision.
This doesn't make any sense. Then isn't every reaction we have also inevitable, since we are how we are?
So your thought of the reaction is inevitable. But once the thought arrived in your conscious mind, you have the choice on how to react to it.
So then if I have the choice, it means you are full of shit and I actually have free will?
No, you have the choice indeed, but only from the solutions you have stored in your brain. Just like in a supermarket, you only have the choice of the products that are on the shelves. And these products are your actions and reactions to your thoughts. I believe that every action we take, every yes or no, is premeditated. And most of these decisions happen in the subconscious mind. Basically, it's our body who takes the decisions for us. The chemicals in our blood, the meal in our stomach, the past experiences stored in our deep mind, the muscle memory from our repeated past. All of this is you, and all of that takes the decision, along with a small part of you that is actually conscious. You are more than just the conscious part, and even this conscious part is just an effect, a consequence of what happened to you. You are much more than what you feel you are in this second, and your thoughts are not only yours, the conscious you, but also the thoughts of the subconscious you. So, are we free? No. Do we have free will? No. Does living the illusion of being free matter? Yes, as long as you are aware that this is just an illusion. This way, you can take control of your reactions and understand and change yourself into a better you. Who you are now might be the result of your past behavior. What you think now might be the effect of your past self. So, for your future self, put now in the present some good thoughts. Your future self will benefit from them in the times of need that will inevitably come. Thank you for watching. Support me on Patreon. Subscribe and share this video with other people. Maybe they will make their brains work. Bye.
Being free is not easy. You think it's easy, and it is not. I think that's why a lot of people actually asking for government to be choosing for you, because I can it is only a courageous person be free and onto their own choice, and take that as accountability. It is a very hard thing to do.